The kids need to see us co-parenting well, Maya. Jennifer needs to be at the family table. She's coordinating the wedding timeline to make sure the children feel included. I stared at James across our favorite brunch spot in Noe Valley, my mimosa suddenly tasting like metal in my mouth. We'd been planning our Napa Valley Vineyard wedding for 4 months, 50 intimate guests, blended family celebration, a fresh start for both of us after difficult divorces, and now, 1 week before the rehearsal dinner, my fiancé was telling me his ex-wife needed a seat at our family table. Jennifer is coordinating our wedding? I set down my glass carefully, watching my hand stay steady even as my heart hammered. James, she's a guest. She's the mother of your children, yes, but she's not coordinating anything. You're being unreasonable. He reached for my hand, but I pulled back. This is about the kids. Maya, Tyler and Emma need to see their parents working together. What kind of example does it set if we exclude their mother from the planning? We're not excluding her. She's invited. She'll be there. But she's not sitting at our table, and she's definitely not giving a speech about our family. His jaw tightened. That look I'd started seeing more often lately. The one that said I was the problem. I told her she could say a few words during the reception. About how proud she is of how we're blending our families. Is that so terrible? I thought about my son, Ethan, 4 years old, waiting at his dad's house for me to pick him up later. I thought about the last 8 months with James. The whirlwind romance. How quickly he'd wanted me to meet Tyler and Emma. How Jennifer had coincidentally shown up at 3 of our dates. How James always had an explanation. When did you tell her this? Does it matter? When? James? Last week, we were discussing the kids' schedule for the wedding weekend, and it came up naturally. I pulled my phone from my purse and opened my texts with Sarah, my best friend who'd been helping with wedding planning. 3 days ago, she'd sent me screenshots. Jennifer's Facebook posts. Can't wait to celebrate our family this weekend. So grateful for this new chapter. Some things are meant to be. Sarah had added, "Girl, I think you need to see these." I'd ignored them. Told myself I was being paranoid. That my own divorce had made me suspicious of happy co-parenting. That I should trust James. "I need to use the restroom," I said, standing. James nodded, already checking his phone. In the bathroom, I called Sarah. "Tell me I'm not crazy," I said without preamble. "You're not crazy." Did he bring up Jennifer again? She's coordinating the wedding timeline now. And giving a speech about our family. Sarah was quiet for a moment. "Maya, I need to tell you something." David called me. David. My ex-husband. We'd been divorced 2 years, co-parented Ethan beautifully, and maintained a genuinely friendly relationship. He would never call Sarah unless it was important. He saw James and Jennifer having dinner. Tuesday night. At Flower Plus Water. My vision blurred. That's when James said he had a late client meeting. They were holding hands, Maya. I gripped the sink. The bathroom walls felt too close. "I hired someone," Sarah continued. "A private investigator. Don't be mad. I paid for it myself. I just had a feeling, and I needed to be wrong. But Maya, I'm not wrong. They've been meeting regularly. Coffee, dinners, parks with the kids. He told Jennifer you've been having cold feet. That the wedding might not happen. He booked a hotel suite for her at the Carneros Resort for the wedding weekend. The honeymoon suite. The honeymoon suite. He told the hotel it was for a family member who needed to stay close by for the children. I hung up. Washed my face. Looked at myself in the mirror. I'd been here before. 2 years ago, different bathroom, different restaurant. Finding out my first husband had been lying. But I wasn't that woman anymore. I'd rebuilt myself. Built a career. Become the kind of mother Ethan deserved. And I'd be damned if I'd let history repeat itself. I walked back to the table. James was texting someone, smiling. "I need you to do something for me," I said, sitting down. He looked up. "What's that?" "Choose. Right now. Jennifer or me." His expression shifted. Confusion, then irritation. "Maya, that's not fair. She's the mother of my children. You can't ask me to choose between." "I'm not asking you to choose between her and me in their lives. I'm asking you to choose who you're marrying. Because right now, it seems like you're trying to marry us both. You're being paranoid." Flower Plus Water, Tuesday night. 7:30. The color drained from his face. The honeymoon suite at Carneros. Booked under your name. For Jennifer. That's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, James. Tell me what I should think when my fiancé books a honeymoon suite for his ex-wife at our wedding venue. It's complicated. The kids need. Stop. Don't use your children as an excuse for lying to me. I stood up. I'll make this simple for you. You have until tomorrow morning. Jennifer coordinates the wedding and sits at our table, or there is no wedding. Think carefully about what you choose. I left him sitting there, walked to my car, and drove home with my hands shaking so hard I had to pull over twice. At my apartment, I opened my laptop and looked at the spreadsheet I'd created for wedding planning. Every vendor, every deposit, every contract. I'd learned from my first marriage to keep meticulous records, to understand the business side of everything. The vineyard, $45,000 total. Deposit $15,000, cancellation policy. 30 days out, 50% refund. 7 days out, no refund unless rebooked. My phone buzzed. James, can we talk about this like adults? I didn't respond. Instead, I called David. Sarah told me, he said immediately. Are you okay? I need to know if I'm overreacting. From one divorced person to another. Maya, you're one of the smartest people I know. You rebuilt your entire life after we split up. You raised our son while climbing to director. You don't overreact. What does your gut say? I closed my eyes. That I'm about to marry someone who hasn't let go of his first marriage. Then you know what to do. David, what if I'm wrong? What if he really is just trying to co-parent well and I'm projecting my issues onto him? The man booked a honeymoon suite for his ex-wife at your wedding venue, Maya. That's not co-parenting. That's something else entirely. After we hung up, I sat in the quiet of my living room. The wedding binder sat on my coffee table. The dress hung in my closet. The playlist for the reception was already created. But none of that mattered as much as the cold certainty settling in my chest. My phone rang. James. Maya, I need you to understand. Jennifer and I have a complicated relationship. We share children. That doesn't just go away. I never asked it to go away. I asked for boundaries. You're asking me to exclude her from our lives. I'm asking you not to book her a honeymoon suite at our wedding. She needed a place to stay close to the kids. The regular rooms were full. James, do you hear yourself? You didn't think to mention this to me. You didn't think I might want to know that your ex-wife is staying in a honeymoon suite the same weekend as our wedding. You would have made it into something it wasn't. There it was. The truth beneath all his explanations. I was the problem. My feelings were the obstacle. My boundaries were unreasonable. I need you to be honest with me, I said quietly. Are you in love with Jennifer? Silence. James? It's not that simple. My heart cracked, but my voice stayed steady. It actually is that simple. Yes or no? I love what we had. I love our family. The kids need their parents together, and when I'm with Jennifer, I can pretend we're still that family. But I also care about you, Maya. I thought I could have both. I thought if I could just get through the wedding, everything would settle into place. You thought you could have both, I repeated. You were planning to marry me while still being in love with your ex-wife. I was going to choose you. The wedding was me choosing you. No, James. The wedding was you trying to have your cake and eat it too. Me as your wife, Jennifer as your... What? Your emotional backup plan? Your real family coordinator? Don't say it like that. I hung up. Then I opened my email and started typing. The wedding planner first. Natasha had been professional and kind through every meeting. I'd liked her immediately. Now I needed to trust that she would understand. Natasha, I need to cancel the wedding. I know this is last minute and I apologize for any inconvenience. Please let me know what we can salvage from the deposits. I'll call you first thing tomorrow morning to discuss details. Maya. Then the vineyard, the caterer, the photographer, the florist, the DJ. One email after another. Professional, apologetic, firm. My phone exploded with calls from James. I silenced it. Sarah texted, "What do you need?" "A favor. Can you pick up Ethan from David's? I need tonight to handle this." "Already done. He's having a sleepover at my place. David said to tell you he's proud of you." I cried then. Sitting on my living room floor surrounded by printed contracts and vendor agreements, I let myself cry. Not because I was losing James. but because I was grieving the future I'd imagined. The blended family, the fresh start, the belief that I'd finally gotten it right. My phone rang again. Not James this time. An unknown number. Hello? Maya? This is Jennifer Mitchell. I almost hung up. But something stopped me. Jennifer, I just got off the phone with James. He told me you're calling off the wedding because I'm involved in the planning. That's not why I'm calling it off. Then why? I could have lied. Could have been diplomatic. Instead, I told her the truth. Because your ex-husband booked you a honeymoon suite at our wedding venue without telling me. Because he's been meeting you for dinners and telling you I have cold feet. Because he admitted to me 20 minutes ago that he's still in love with you and thought he could marry me while keeping you as his backup plan. Silence on the other end. Then, he what? You didn't know? Maya. I thought. Her voice cracked. He told me you were canceling because of stress. He said he was going to call off the wedding himself because you weren't ready. He said after the dust settled, we might have another chance. For the kids. We were both quiet for a moment. How long has he been telling you this? I asked. 6 months. Since you two got engaged. He said it was a mistake. That he'd realized what he'd lost. That he just needed time to figure out how to end things with you gently. 6 months. The entire time we'd been planning the wedding. Jennifer. I'm sorry. Not for calling off the wedding. But for being part of whatever game he was playing with both of us. I have a question, she said. Did he ever tell you why we got divorced? He said you grew apart. That you wanted different things. She laughed bitterly. I divorced him because he cheated on me. With his previous ex-girlfriend. He has a pattern. Maya. He collects women who love him and keeps them all in orbit. I was just stupid enough to think he'd changed. After we hung up, I sat with that information. The picture becoming clearer. James didn't want to choose. He wanted all of us. Jennifer for the family he'd lost. Me for the fresh start. And probably someone else down the line when the novelty wore off. The next morning, Natasha called me. Maya. I'm so sorry about everything. I need you to know something. That cancellation policy I sent you? The owner of the vineyard, Rebecca, heard about your situation. She's been divorced twice. She said any woman walking away from a wedding over boundary issues deserves support, not penalties. She's refunding your full deposit. I couldn't speak. The caterer is doing the same. So is the photographer, she said. She wishes someone had supported her when she almost married the wrong person. Between all the vendors, you're getting back about 31,000 of your 45,000. Some of the deposits are already spent on flowers and rentals. But Maya, this is unprecedented. They're all rooting for you. After I hung up, I cried again. Different tears this time. Sarah arrived with Ethan and coffee. Mama. My son launched himself into my arms. Sarah said, we're having a party. I looked at Sarah over his head. I had an idea, she said. You already paid for the vineyard day of costs. Rebecca said you're welcome to still use the space. What if instead of a wedding, you threw a different kind of party? That's how the Freedom Brunch was born. I sent new invitations. Not to wedding guests. To women I knew who'd walked away. My divorce attorney. The 3 single moms from Ethan's preschool. David's sister, who'd left her fiancé 2 weeks before their wedding 5 years ago. Sarah's book club friends, half of whom were divorced or separated. Natasha. Even Rebecca from the vineyard. The invitation read, you're invited to celebrate second chances. Champagne brunch at Carnero's Resort. Dress code, whatever makes you feel powerful. RSVP for you plus whoever needs to remember their own strength. 40 women, RSVP'd, yes. James tried to see me that week, called 17 times, sent flowers, showed up at my office. I had security escort him out. He sent one final text, you're going to regret this. I was offering you a real family. Now you're just a single mom with a kid from a failed marriage. I blocked his number. The morning of what would have been my wedding, I woke up to Ethan crawling into my bed. Mama, are you sad? No, baby. I'm actually happy. Sarah said we're going to a party for strong ladies. That's right. Am I a strong lady too? You're my strong little man. And someday, you're going to remember that your mama taught you it's okay to walk away from people who don't treat you right. The vineyard looked beautiful. Rebecca had kept all the flowers white roses and lavender. But instead of ceremony chairs, She'd set up round tables under the oak trees, champagne towers, mimosa bar, a spread of food that was supposed to be my wedding brunch. The women arrived in everything from jeans to cocktail dresses. Some brought their daughters. Some brought their mothers. Some came alone, looking nervous, like they weren't sure they belonged. I stood up to speak, my champagne glass shaking slightly. Thank you all for coming. A week ago, this was supposed to be my wedding day. Instead, it's my freedom day. I was about to marry someone who thought he could keep his ex-wife as a backup plan while promising me a future. Someone who used his children as an excuse for crossing every boundary I set. Someone who made me feel crazy for trusting my gut. I looked around at these women. Each one had a story. Each one had walked away from something. But I'm not here to talk about him. I'm here to talk about us. About every time we chose ourselves. Every time we said no to something that didn't honor us. Every time we walked away, even when it hurt, even when people called us crazy or dramatic or cold. I raised my glass. To second chances, to choosing ourselves, to teaching our daughters and sons what boundaries look like. To freedom, they echoed, glasses raised. We ate. We laughed. We shared stories. The divorce attorney talked about leaving her own marriage. 3 single moms created a babysitting co-op on the spot. Someone started a group text for networking and support. Sarah pulled me aside. Jennifer just texted me she wants to know if she can send you something. How did she get your number? I gave it to her. After you told me about your conversation, I thought you two might need to talk. An hour later, a delivery arrived. Flowers and a card. Maya, thank you for the clarity. I've spent 2 years hoping James would come back. Your courage helped me see I was holding on to a fantasy. I'm filing for full custody and moving forward. You saved me from making the same mistake twice. Jennifer. I tucked the card in my purse. Another woman freed from James's orbit. As the party wound down, women exchanged numbers and hugs. Someone suggested we make this an annual thing, Freedom Brunch. Every year. For anyone who needs it. Rebecca pulled me aside as I was leaving. The leftover money from your deposit's $14,000. What do you want to do with it? I thought about Jennifer. About all the women who couldn't afford to walk away because they were financially trapped. Is there a women's shelter nearby? 3 of them. Split it between them. For emergency funds. For women who need to leave fast. She smiled. I'll match it. 28,000 total. 6 months later, I stood in the boardroom at work. The company had just approved my promotion to VP of Marketing, 75% raise. Team of 12 reporting to me. The role I'd been building toward for 3 years. Congratulations, Maya, my CEO said. You've shown remarkable focus and leadership this year, especially given personal challenges. That takes strength. I thought about how close I'd come to derailing everything for James. How the wedding stress had almost cost me this promotion because I was so focused on blending families that I'd neglected my own ambitions. That evening, I picked up Ethan from his after-school program. David was there, waiting to walk us to our cars. How does it feel, VP Chen? Surreal. Good, right. I'm proud of you. Not just for the promotion. For everything. At home, Ethan did his homework at the kitchen table while I made dinner. Normal. Peaceful. Just the 2 of us, and that was enough. My phone buzzed. Sarah, remember that guy from my book club I mentioned? He asked about you again. Coffee? No pressure. He's genuinely nice. Divorced dad, 2 kids, very respectful boundaries. I looked at Ethan, bent over his math worksheet, tongue poking out in concentration. Maybe in a few months, I texted back. I'm still learning to enjoy my own company. Fair. The invitation stands whenever you're ready. The doorbell rang. Ethan ran to answer it. Through the peephole, I saw James. I didn't open the door. Maya, please. I just want to talk. 5 minutes. Ethan looked up at me. Who is it, Mama? No one important, baby. Go finish your homework. Through the door. Maya. I made a mistake. Jennifer and I tried to make it work, but it's not the same. You were right. I should have chosen you. I walked to the door. Didn't open it, but spoke through it. James, I need you to hear this. I don't care that you chose Jennifer. I don't care that it didn't work out. I don't care what you've realized or regretted. I don't care at all. That's the part you're not understanding. You are nothing to me now. Not anger, not hurt. Nothing. That's not true. We spent 8 months together. You loved me. I loved who I thought you were. That person doesn't exist. And I don't waste energy mourning fantasies anymore. Please don't contact me again. I walked back to the kitchen. Heard him try the doorbell twice more, then his footsteps retreating. Ethan looked up. Mama, you okay? Yeah, baby. I'm perfect. Later that night, after Ethan was asleep, I sat on my balcony with a glass of wine and my journal. I'd started writing again after the wedding cancellation. Processing. Healing. Understanding. I wrote, "Today I chose myself again. Promotion approved. Boundaries held. No regrets. He asked me tonight if I'm lonely. I told him I'm learning the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is missing something. Solitude is enjoying your own presence. I'm getting better at the second one." James showed up. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction. Not anger. Nothing. That's how I know I'm truly free. You can't hurt me if I don't care enough to feel it. Note to self. The Freedom Brunch is happening again next year. Sarah already has a list of 20 women who want to come. Rebecca is donating the space. We're building something bigger than any of us realized. Second note. Maybe coffee with Sarah's book club friend isn't the worst idea. But only when I'm ready. Only when I'm so full of my own life that someone else is an addition, not a need. I closed the journal and looked out at the San Francisco skyline. Lights twinkling. The city alive and moving forward. Somewhere out there James was probably texting another woman. Jennifer was probably tucking her kids into bed, planning her own fresh start. And I was here, in my apartment, with my son sleeping peacefully down the hall, my promotion starting Monday, and absolutely zero desire to be anywhere else. I raised my glass to the empty balcony. To freedom. I whispered. And meant it.